My name is Jason Charles. I am a retired New York City fireman. I got into prepping because of a book I read called 1 Second After. These same mainstream media people, they show us these insurance commercials and tell us you should always be ready for a car accident or your house to burn down on the ground. But as soon as you talked about getting ready for, a hurricane or a tornado, oh, that's stupid. You should just depend on the government. Buy salt, sugar, pepper, seasoning, flavor, spices, canned goods you're gonna eat. Buy rice, buy beans, cotton balls, Q-tips are good to go. Band-aids, right, because someone's always gonna get cut. So if you have a dog, consider it part of the family, consider prepping for it with food and medical gear as well. Because dogs do need their own medical gear and creams and things like that for the different things that happen to the dog. I say the one thing to get ready above anything else, above your gear, above your supplies, is mental preparedness.
With inflation raging across the entire country, with the price of seemingly everything going through the roof, and with even the possibility of real food shortages coming on the horizon, well, naturally enough, more and more people are turning to prepping. The idea of preparing yourself and your family against any possible disasters, whether that's natural, man-made, or economic. However, most of the advice that you're finding online has to do with people who live either in the countryside or in the suburbs. Things like how to build a garden, how to put up solar panels, how to collect rainwater, etc. But what about the people who live up there? What about the people who live in apartments in big cities? Well, if you're wondering about that, you are in luck, because we are about to head on over to the home of a former New York City firefighter. He was actually at Ground Zero 9/11, and for the last 10 years, he has been a New York City urban prepper. Let's go take a look. So, Jason, can you introduce yourself and tell us how you got into prepping?
My name is Jason Charles. I got into prepping reading a book called 1 Second After. This book is entertainment-wise, it's a great book. But when you read the foreword and the afterword, and I think the afterword was by Newt Gingrich, and the foreword was by the author. Newt Gingrich talks about the EMP Commission report and how that this is a plausible action by whatever terrorist organizations out there, right? Or even from within. But nonetheless, they think that this could happen. And that if it does happen, the societal breakdowns are going to be bad, obviously. So reading that afterward and then reading the book, and I remember one scene in the book where the hero of the book, I think his name is John, he runs around, he's not running around, he's driving through the town and he looks at a bunch of kids starving. And he thought to himself, I wish I would have had more to prevent that from happening. So with that, I read that part of the book, I finished the book, and I lost my mind. I went and I started buying MREs like it was going out of style. Wow. And from there, I gathered a lot of supplies, probably a few $1,000s within the first month. And needless to say, it didn't go over well with the wife.
So just to properly explain this to the audience, an EMP attack is when a nuclear bomb is used to take out all the electrical grid in an area.
Right. So EMP attack is a nuclear weapon or an EMP device. So now they do have EMP devices that can attach, or they can be attached to an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, that goes up in the air and it detonates and it, I guess, releases or activates an EMP that showers down whatever area they're looking to affect. These EMP devices, if you will, are more precise than wasting, as they put it, wasting a nuclear weapon to do this.
So once you began prepping, once you began saying, hey, I need to get prepared, so how did you actually start? So you have nothing, so you're living pretty much like everyone else in the city, right? Kind of basic, like, oh, I don't have toothpaste, I'm gonna go buy toothpaste. I don't have food, I'll go buy food. So what was the first step?
The first step was going on prepper sites and then not listening to their suggestion and just looking at all the stuff they had and go, we need that, we need this, we need that. So initially when I started, I was, again, amateur or immature and amateurish at the same time. And I just started buying anything and everything. I started buying canned goods. Obviously with canned goods at a supermarket, you're looking for sales, right? You're looking for the, spam, buy 10 spams for $1, right? Because no one eats that shit anyway. And then you look online and go, well, you want something that lasts a little longer and you want some variety. All right, MREs. I looked at MREs. And I was buying MREs like an idiot on eBay. After I did all of that, I calmed down, realizing that this thing, whatever it is, can happen tomorrow or it can happen 20 years from now. So I calmed down and I started listening to preppers online. And then they were like, well, buy this first and buy that. Set yourself up with things you're going to use. You don't want to eat MREs, buy salt, sugar, pepper, seasoning, flavor, spices. Then buy, canned goods you're going to eat. Buy rice, buy beans. So I started listening and I started buying that and I started saving myself more money. I threw away a ton of money in the beginning because I just thought I needed MREs and I thought I needed all the expensive prepper items. I didn't. Now that I'm older, a lot of those items were absolutely worth buying because they did come in handy during Hurricanes Sandy and Irene. Now that I'm a lot older from that point, from that midpoint to now, I have more gear where a lot of it's going to come in handy and some of it probably is never going to come in handy. But this is why you have it. You have it in case you need it.
So if you can go back and redo it, knowing what you know now, so you wouldn't waste the money, how would you start? How would you start stocking up your shelves in your closet?
Oh, if I went back in time and smacked myself in the face, it'd be like, yo, start with the canned goods, the rice and the beans. Start with the basics. Don't go crazy. Don't go with the MREs. Don't get, portable power stations off the back. Learn the basics of prepping and what you need. And then essentially what you should do above all is write a list. Get a pen and a pad out and write out what you need. Not what you want, what you need. What you want comes later, right? What you need is food and water, right? And that's what you focus on. Then you look at medical gear, right? You actually focus on medical gear at the same time. And you go, what do we need? Who has what? Well, if you have, like diabetes or asthma or anything like that, you can stock up on meds, but meds don't last that long, or at least they lose their potency over time. So you have to keep that in the back of your head when you're collecting that. Medical gear like, 4x4, Band-Aids, wraps, things like that. You buy that at a clip, and you start gathering that together. But while you're also collecting medical gear, you should take first aid classes, because first aid classes are going to help you use a lot of that gear. Because a lot of people don't know how to use it, but they will figure it out. But there is also a proper way to use it so you don't use more of it, right? Some people seem to think you use a gauze, you need 8 gauze and a little cut. No, one will do. Fold it in half, put it over, wrap it, and you're done. That goes with medical gear. So there's a lot of things also you should be learning at the same time. And one will say this is a lot to learn. It isn't. You take a week at a time or a day at a time and you focus on one thing you want to learn, right? If you want to put more food away for yourself, you learn about pressure canning, right? That's going to teach you how to especially if you live in an apartment, you do pressure canning. So this is the closet, right, that you keep everything in? Yes, we jokingly call it the Doomsday Closet, but I'm pretty sure we're not joking anymore. This is just where we put the majority of our preps, but I also started canning, so I had to put another rack system in here and started canning. This is chicken broth, right? So this is under high pressure, and you can it, and it can stay in here for a couple of years. So in theory, not theory, but if it gets bad and there's no more food coming in, we can rely on this and the rice as well. I mean, you can mix the two together and make it some kind of a stew, or separately, or boil the rice in that with meat that we also have in here as well. So we have, it doesn't look great, but this is beef.
And how did you put that in the can?
So you pack the beef in it, and then you just boil it under high pressure. You have a canner. I have a canner under the desk, and I break that out probably once, twice a month. Can a bunch of stuff and then put it in here.